Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business. One. What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip hop, music, and culture that happen throughout the week. Big shout out to all the people who have subscribed to this podcast, and those of you who are new, welcome. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment because I do read the comments. I do respond. You know, it could be me clicking the thumbs up, could be me, loving your comment, could be me responding and having something to say about what you said. Just be wary of if I don't respond and you don't see your comment. That just means I kick your ass out, okay? But we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers here on the podcast, and I'm not gonna hold y'all. We've been moving like light speed, okay? Which is dope, right? We hit 500. Now we're somewhere around 700 now, 702, something like that, whatever it may be. Well, put it this way. I don't know if it's 702. It's very close to being 800. It's more that than what I just said, but the road is to 1,000. So keep subscribing, keep sharing with people who you know would enjoy this kind of content. Because when we get to 1,000, you know what I'm saying, we'll be able to do some things, not just monetization, because you need a little bit more than just 1,000 subscribers to monetize. But it's trying to make the channel active. And big shout out to people who have been listening on audio, have no desire to watch any videos. But I will say this: if you find yourself on YouTube more than often, drop through, hit subscribe, and then go continue to listen to the audio podcast because it's not going anywhere. That's the bread and butter. That's the foundation of the show. Speaking of content on the channel recently, as some of you who follow channel know, I've been doing a lot of, special episodes. And just yesterday, if you're from the future, it happened a long time ago, but get your ass out of here. You already know what I'm going to say. I did a live stream talking about the process for myself when it comes to best of 2024 list or best of the year list in general. On here, I typically talk about my process for reviewing an album, which is the 3 listens, right? But I felt the need to kind of expand upon that a little bit more to let people know that as we start to gear up towards the end of the year, and some people have already been releasing their best of 2024, one list that I'm going to go over today from another website, hiphopgoldenage.com. My process is different from a Rolling Stones, a Hip Hop DX's, a Hip Hop Golden Age. And so it's important for me, just as a hip hop fan, to check out other people's lists, see if I missed anything, but also to check out their process. And in that video, I basically break down what my process is and what it's been like creating a list where now you have so many hip hop albums, unless you're just going to list them all that you like, you have to break it down to a system that's digestible and a resource for hip hop heads who want to know, what was dope this year? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's how I would be, if I wasn't creating the content and listening to all this music myself. So that's what that is. Big shout out to hiphopdx.com, hiphopgoldenage.com, double XL, mag.com, yeah. And a couple of places where I'm getting some of these stories from. Let's get right into the business stuff. So we're going to start this right at the top because I haven't done the weekly news show in maybe 2 weeks now, and a lot has happened. But the Drake and Kendrick thing carries on. Some of it worthwhile, right? Like when Drake releases music that we could check out, or J. Cole, or like Kendrick, who just released GNX. Check out the channel for my review and breakdown of that new album. But Drake recently submitted what is not necessarily a lawsuit, but almost like a probe into what he claims is, some practices that led to the success of Not Like Us, and those practices being using bots and payola with radio. For those who don't know, bots is just a way to bypass, a human press and play on that stream maybe once or twice for that same song, but having a bot programmed to literally play that song over and over and over and over again, 24 hours a week, whatever, um, just to increase the popularity of the record so that it appears it's this big popular thing. Or, I only listen to country music, but somehow they're referring Not Like Us on Spotify. And with payola, that's just something that's just been a part of music. It's not necessarily something you're supposed to do, but it's been a part of commercial radio for a long time, where you pay DJs to give you more spins on the radio, to talk about your record, to hype your record up, to go in the club, if that's still a thing with DJs, and play your record and hype it up at the club, like really boosting the presence of that song. Now, just for that one action by Drake, he is a hip hop Karen for the next thing. But for that one action, just from my perspective, it seems stupid, because if someone asks me, forget Not Like Us, forget Drake and Kendrick, I'm a fan of both, so just relax. Uh, but if someone had asked me, yo, do you think record labels use bots to increase the popularity of their artists' music? I would say, hell yeah, I think they do that. And that would be for everyone, including Drake, who is also a part of Universal Music Group, who he's suing, along with Kendrick Lamar being a part of that same. So if there's any truth to what Drake is saying, I'm pretty sure there's evidence of them doing the same thing for him. It's like payola. It's like you're not supposed to do it, but everybody does it. It's like the NFL. You're not supposed to cheat, but everybody cheats. It's just about who gets caught, right? And then the other proposed probe, I'll call it, pause, I guess, um, into the Not Like Us song is defamation of character, saying that Universal Music Group could have stopped the record coming out about him that called him a pedophile, right? Now, remember, both Kendrick and Drake are a part of Universal Music Group. They both have different, um, agreements with them as artists, as businessmen, and all that good stuff. This is where the hip hop Karen part comes into play. Never in the history of battle rap, for which, because I don't care if Drake has made us two-step, for which Drake has been a willing participant way before this. Drake he loves battle rap. He loves that energy. It's the reason why he would take on a Pusha T, a Joe Budden, a Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Like a Meek Mill. Like he's with it. He's with it. And I gave him a lot of props, not only for always taking on battles when with his success, he does not have to, right? Um, but specifically this battle, in contrast to J. Cole, where I kind of feel like at least Drake fought, right? He didn't put out one diss record and said, nah, I'm out of here. Let me go make my hits. I'm good. Let y'all broke cats stay where y'all at. Pause. Right? No, he engaged back and forth to the end. Even with he had the last, I won't say the last laugh because the laugh was on him, but he had the last say in this particular battle when he put out the Heart Part 6, which was his response to Not Like Us, right? So, in a lot of ways, I always looked at it like Drake is a hip hop head because of that, because he wants to continue to battle. But when I see this, it's like, oh, but you think you should win. You from that era of everybody gets a trophy. You gonna call the police? So the whole thing is just weird. Um, I don't take it that serious. Of course, UMG released a statement basically saying, What are you even talking about?" That's my summary of it. Uh, but I think there were some tactics behind it for Drake, right? The tactic wasn't to actually sue because you got to prove it after a while. And you talk about defamation of character, well, you can be countersued because if you're saying, oh, in this exchange, he's referring to me as a pedophile and it's hurting my brand. Well, Kendrick could turn around and say, well, he started calling me a wife beater. He started saying my wife be outside in the streets and that my friend is actually the father of my son with my wife. Like, that's defamation across the board. Like, so that's what I mean. I can't take it that serious. But in the hip hop world, Drake's hip hop pass has been officially revoked. I don't care how much you like him. I don't care how much you prefer the moist raps that he write and sometimes have other people write for him, not of all of which I've disliked. Let me be clear. But the moist era is over. It's back to creativity and thinking. And if Kendrick's bars don't do it for you, that is fine. We got so many other dope people out here that y'all never talk about because y'all don't really care about the bars. Y'all don't know about 38 Special and Benny and Conway and Ransom and all these dudes who give you all the boom bap head nods. Y'all just want to be a part of this conversation. And when it comes to Drake and that side, I'm sorry. Your hip hop pass is revoked. Never in the history of hip hop battles and back and forth and diss records has anyone publicly, I'll give Drake an out, publicly done something like this. Just hasn't happened. So those are my thoughts on it. It's been a while since I was, here to even talk about it. Um, but nevertheless, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. So Hip Hop DX recently did a story called 10 blog era mixtapes that deserve to be released on streaming services. You can find this on hiphopdx.com in the news section. And I think a lot of this has to do, or this topic is coming from the fact that J. Cole has been releasing all of his mixtapes on streaming services, which occurred during the blog era. I put out what is not called a tweet, but the name is Skeet, and I feel funny saying that, but a post on Blue Sky about like when these J. Cole mixtapes like to come up and the warm up and Friday Night Lights hit streaming services, and so many people rejoice to finally have them when I'm like, I've had them digitally in my iTunes library for decades. What y'all doing? Now, maybe you was younger and you just had all these joints on CD. And now that's just not what you do or what I do. So I get it. I digitized my stuff back then a long time ago. So I had it. But also, speaking of blog era, where were you with the datpiffs.com? You can download them joints. I don't understand. Rest in peace, Dat Piff. Damn, what a time. But the blog era, what a time to be alive. There are a lot of people on podcasting, hip hop podcasting, and YouTube who are not active. They wasn't outside. Their content, their shows do not date back to the blog era. Some of us are the veterans. For me in particular, Sure, I didn't do a video version of my podcast. My podcast has been around since then. I had a actual blog that I would write until y'all stop reading, uh, and not just reading me. We all of us writers have two dope boys to thank. Headline and video. That's all. That's all. Oh, give me the album. Headline and what album? Okay, can I play it? Cool. So the blog era was an interesting time, but what I like about this list, and I'm going to skim through really quick, is just the fact that that era of mixtapes was special. Like mixtapes existed before the blog era. And the blog era, let me just say, this is from Hip Hop DX, a special and influential period of hip hop from the mid 2000s to the early 2010s. The difference between the mixtapes before that, they were DJ driven and they were literally mixtapes. Cassette with not just one artist, but several artists. And there was actual mixing, wiggle wiggers with the turntables. But this blog era of mixtapes was more so like almost like albums that weren't official, but they were mixtapes. So you may get original songs and original beats on one mixtape. Another mixtape, it might be original songs, original beats, classic records from that artist, a freestyle, over somebody else's beat. But what drew most people was the original content, right? Because now you were getting your artists to do a mixtape that you could literally look at it like that, but that's an album. Those are beats I never heard of, over rhymes I never heard of, but it's just on this platform. And it just was a dope time. And there's a lot of artists who built their names off of that, right? Like J. Cole was big on the mixtape scene before then. But everybody has classic mixtapes. Drake got some, right? Um, Kendrick, Overly Dedicated was his. Fabulous went on a nice run, you know what I'm saying, with the summer shootouts. And the other one, what was it? The Black Tape? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm losing my mind. Y'all know which one I'm talking about because everybody loves them. But for Fabulous, it was like people who liked his bars, but his albums always gave you more radio friendly tracks. These mixtapes were the Soul Tape series. That's what I meant to say. For Fabulous, these mixtapes were like their way of getting the version of Fabulous they like. You know what I'm saying? And for J. Cole, for me in the beginning, it was that. So let's just get to this list real quick before I go on too long with this. And hold on, let me make sure this is actually their story. No, they're just telling the story of mixtapes during the blog era and site. So one here's we're gonna go through all 10 real quick because we got a big list on Hip Hop Golden Age next. So Frank Ocean's Nostalgia Ultra, that was in 2011. Very dope, but that's more of a singing, but that mixtape was crazy. I ain't go front. Tyler the Creator, Bastard. I didn't really like Tyler back then because he was more shock rapping. Not that I don't like shock rap, but I just was, I guess I was up a certain age where I was like, I don't want to hear that. That's for kids. Uh, Earl Sweatshirt, Earl. I like Earl Sweatshirt more back then than I do now. Well, hold up. I didn't give y'all the dates. Tyler the Creator was '09. Earl was 2010. Lil Wayne, The Drought 3 in 2007. This was Lil Wayne, like he was killing it with the albums. He was killing it with the mixtapes. This is probably not my favorite out of what he's released, but it still was a dope mixtape. Rick Ross, Rich Forever. This is when I started liking. This is 2012 when I started liking Rick Ross a little bit more. It's like, I kind of like what he does. Big Sean, Finally Famous, Volume 3, 2010, called Big. I've never been a Big Sean fan, so maybe I'll check this out and then discover what it is that people like about him. I think he could rap. I don't know. I don't think I like his voice. Wale and Ninth Wonder, Back to the Feature, 2009, 2009. This was dope. This is the Wale I missed, to be honest. Dom Kennedy, the Yellow album, 2012. Yo, I'm a big West Coast sound, right? Not West Coast rappers that sound like they're from New York. I like them too. Talk about the game. But I also love West Coast sound, right? That laid back sound, rappers that's laid back, where it's not about bars, it's just about saying cool stuff. And Dom Kennedy, the Yellow Tape, was that. If you like that, check this out. Dom Kennedy got a whole series of albums that are pretty dope, especially early on. Action Bronson, Blue Chips, 2012. I did not touch this because even though later I did like some of what Action Bronson was doing, around this time, Blue Chips, I was like, yo, who is this dude that sounds like Ghostface? How is this not a technical file? That's just what it was. Uh Vic Mensa, internet tape. I think that's what that's called. 2013. Actually, never heard of that. Or maybe I did a while back. But those are the ones they have listed. Do you remember some blog era mixtapes that were dope that are your favorites? I know me, Big Crit is a big one, if that's considered the same time. Um, Wiz Khalifa's Kush and Orange Juice was dope. Currency has a number of dope mixtapes. ASAP Rocky, Chance the Rapper. So there's a few from that blog era that honestly I feel like I need to just collect these joints because that's like a classic time. And maybe I'll just do a episode where we just go over that, like straight up mixtape, blog era mixtapes, classics and stuff like that. And lastly, so as y'all know, we are at the point where we are approaching very quickly the end of 2024. A lot of projects have been released, EPs, albums, mixtapes. I won't tell you I've heard them all, but I've heard a lot and I've heard the important ones for the most part. And I created a system for myself where it's 15, joints that I recommend as the best of the year, with five of them being my top five. And now is the time where everybody's releasing their lists. And my list will be out uh in the next 2 weeks. I think December 20th is the date I'm going to release it. So you have some time, and Snoop and Dre got some time to get in my list if it's dope like that. We'll see. Also, Nas and Premier if they ever drop. But in finalizing my own personal hip hop best of 2024 lists, I do frequently look at other people's lists. Mainly sometimes to find like albums that I'm like, oh, that came out, or oh, I didn't hear that, or this particular album is showing up on a number of different lists. Let me listen to it if I haven't already. So it's kind of that thing, but also it's just interesting to see what people liked this year. So hiphopgoldenage.com, shout out to them, did a their annual best of 2024, and they don't hold back when it comes to the number. And we're not going to go over all of them. We're going to go over those that appear at the end of the list, meaning the bottom. That's what I mean, the end, that I assume are the most popular or the best of the best. I don't know, but we're just going to go through some of them, if it's not too many. But also, like, the honorable mentions is crazy. Like, the list is crazy. And it's part of the reason why I filed my list down, because if I post almost everything as a part of my best of the year, it just wouldn't be that special, because somebody got to win. Just like we told Drake, yo, somebody got to win, fam. Somebody got to be the best of the best, and there's something to shoot for next year. Um, so, without further ado, let's go through hip hop golden ages list. And the first one I see they have here is the death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace. I'm not mad at this pick at all because as an Eminem fan, I like the album. I feel like it should be his last album. It should be your last album because it for what the album represented conceptually and the way it was executed, it should be like that's it, y'all. You want to hear some M? I got plenty of albums out there, hot, whack, all of that. Go listen to those. So next up, they had Benny the Butcher and 38 Special, stabbed and shot two. I'm not mad at this at all. You want bars and boom bap? There you go. You want to get shot at? You go listen to that. Okay. You want to get shot and stabbed? Go listen. You won't get shot and stabbed, but you know what I mean. Like you want that kind of rap, hardcore rap, streets, nothing better. Uh Enoch, waiting for something to happen. Now I have no idea what this is in pardon me, I should be sharing my screen for those online because why not? Why not just share your screen? Okay, maybe I can't share my screen. Okay, yes, we can. Here we go. Boom, there you have it. With sharing screens. How about that? But this is the album. You know, it got the snakes and the alligator fighting, and I don't know. Let's grab a little bit of information. It's called "Waiting for Something to Happen" with these snakes and alligators. Waiting for Something to Happen is a solo LP by Enoch, the Florida-based producer and long-standing member of Sign. I think that's how you pronounce that. Born from a mix of emotions, including grief, confidence, fear, and ambition, this project reflects the complexities of modern life. Enoch enlisted a great lineup of hip-hop icons and underground spitters, including Artifacts, Sadat X, Kool Keith, Psycho Les, Rockness Monster, Elzai, and Guilty Simpson. I might need to check this out. I had no idea. Leave your comments in the comments section below if you know of Enoch. All right, next up they have Copyright The Last Supper. I do remember this. This is more underground for y'all. Logic is listed here with Ultra 85. Y'all know how I feel about Logic. Like the dude, his whole style is chump. I'll elaborate if you want me to, but not right now. Vic Minster and August Fanon, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Psychological Cheat Sheet 5. They got the 5 mics on the cover. I didn't hear this. I said Vic Minster, Vic Spencer. I don't know. I might check this out. I'm not the biggest fan of Vic Spencer, so that was my apprehension. Like one of those things where I'm almost guaranteed not to like it because I don't necessarily like the artist. Or I might dig it, but we're in the deliberation of best of 2024. So I can't be wasting no time. I'm telling y'all. Real Bad Man and Luca, Temple Needs Water, Village Needs. Man, they going under the underground. What is this? Is a what? No, philosophical exploration into the essence of community spirituality and transformation. I know it didn't say what I was trying to pronounce. I just was reading ahead instead of paying attention to what I was reading. That's all. It's a radio trick. You know, you saying words that you're looking at, but you're also reading what's to come, so you don't mess up. That radio hosts get it. What else we got here? Man, we are under the underground for sure. I need a damn dialect coach. Ever living sound and slime line mother echo chamber. What the hell is this? Cy Martial Law and Skit Slam, also known as Black. My bad, y'all. This might be fire. As Black Belt Poems form the duo of Ever Living Sound. Echo Chamber is a collaborative LP with UK producer Slimeline Mother, drawing inspiration from the sounds of 90s legends like Pete Rock, Q-Tip, and Large Professor. Uh, and my share just went away. I don't know why. Uh, let's try that again. Share screens and keep sharing them. Don't do me like that. Okay, keep sharing. Don't do me like that unless I stopped it by accident. Uh, Professor Slime Mother's beats set a dope backdrop. Ever Living Sounds bars and flows are in sync with the instrumentals, culminating in an exceptional album that feels like a nostalgic nod to 1990s hip hop, sure to resonate with fans of the era. I'm not gonna front. This album cover is fire. And from what y'all described, hip hop goldenage.com, I'm gonna listen to this joint. I know I was laughing, but the joke might be on me because my hip hop and nerd isms are kicking in just looking at it. Boldy James and Nicholas Craven, Penalty of Leadership. I'm not mad at this because this is hands down the only Boldy James album I think I've liked. I like this joint. It was I'm gonna tell you now, I don't have it in my best of the year, but that's not because it wasn't good. Schoolie D, what? Cause that Nixers, or oh wait, that doesn't say Nixers. Crazy, that's why. Okay. Schoolie D has a new album. That's crazy. Young Morpheus and Alexander Spit, Waking Up and Choosing Violence. Young Morpheus. Wow. Man, you talk about underground. If you have any interest in underground and under the underground rappers, go to hiphopgoldenage.com. They are putting me on. I can't listen to all of this, but god damn. Like this everybody, they just making up names at this point. Hold up. Brother Ali and Unjust Love and Service. I think this was released recently. No, in April. Okay. Brother Ali usually puts out some pretty dope work, so that's probably all right. Nah, really an expert, the blip. Dog, this list is crazy. Okay, we're gonna have to be those people who just look for what everybody else knows. Okay, Crime Apple and Big Ghost, Bazooka. What else we have here? Mutant Academy, Keep Holly Alive. I don't know, man. They kind of put me on to things. I don't know if all this stuff is actually good, but it made their list. So DJ Muggs and Raz Frisco, The Eternal Now. If I said that wrong, trust me, I don't know who that guy is. I know who DJ Muggs is. Uh oh. Killer Priest. I know I can't pronounce this. Okay. Abraxas, Rebus, Steamha, Pleroma. Audio listeners, you're gonna have to forgive me. Now, I'm gonna just tell you I like this. I'm gonna be upfront. When it comes to Killer Priest, it's a hip hop guilty pleasure for me. I may not know what he's talking about, not one word, but I like some of it. Only if the production is straight up boom bap that mixes with all that metaphysical rap and stuff. So I'll probably check this out just for my personal reasons because I have no reason to believe it's going to push anything off my top list at this point. A couple other guys. What's this? Eddie Kane and Big Ghost. Last exit to Brooklyn. I remember hearing about that joint. Heems, Vienna. Heems. Is this the Heems? I think. No, this isn't the Griselda cat, but I have heard of this guy, which is cool. This is an album that honestly I forgot about, but it was pretty dope. Talib Kweli and J. Rawls, The Confidence of Knowing. Social media posts aside, if you like Talib Kweli, you'll like this album. He also put out an album with Madlib this year called Liberation, I think. That was also dope. Talib was 2 for 2 this year, but not one made my list. I'm sorry. Schoolboy Q, Blue Lips. I was kind of disappointed in this album. So just for spoiler's sake, y'all, this won't be in my top 5. I don't feel it was whack. It just didn't scratch the itch that I thought was going to happen when he dropped, because Schoolboy Q doesn't have an album I dislike, but this just didn't meet my expectations, to be honest. Danielson and Future Wave, Bushman, Bodega. Album cover is fire. I ain't go front. Wow, this made your list. MC Light, One of One. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't do no charity. I love MC Light. She's from BK. She's a legend in the hip hop game, not just as a female rapper, but as a rapper, period. And this album wasn't that good to me. It just wasn't. It wasn't. I gave it the listen. I moved on. This is a dope one. Gangrene, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose, Alchemist on the beats and some rhymes, as well as Oh No. Check this joint out. I don't think they have a whack album in their catalog. Uh, Here we go. Rhapsody, Please Don't Cry. Ah, you've heard my thoughts about that. Let's just keep it moving. One thing I think I'm gonna do, since this list keeps going crazy, this is a Vince Staples album that dropped this year. A lot of people like it, Dark Times. Maybe I started backwards. So let's just skim to the top and see what they have on the other end, and then we out, right? This album I just listened to, Lucid's Revelator. It is not for me. I'm gonna just tell you right now, it's not for me. I'm not with that. Billy Woods, I kind of like. Elucid, it's too much. I'm sorry. I know it's dense. I know it makes sense on some level. I know it's not the typical rhyme styles and beats and stuff like that. But I think it's too off base for my taste. Bars. See how easy that was? Uh Mac Hami, Rich Ass Haitian. This is a dope one, y'all. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Obviously, Common and Pete Rock, The Auditorium Volume 1. Let's do maybe 2 more. JPEG Mafia, I Lay Down My Life for You. I listened to that one. It was cool. It was cool. It's not going to be in my best of the year, though. I think he's had better projects than that one. And lastly, Ka, the thief next to Jesus. Rest in peace, Ka, who passed away recently. Let's see what they say. Ka's the thief next to Jesus is a profound exploration of faith, morality, and survival, displaying the Brooklyn MC's unmatched ability to turn life's complexities into poetic verses. Man, that first sentence for this description was bars. Where they get? Who wrote that? It was nice. This ninth solo effort sees Ka doubling down on his minimalist but potent style, drawing listeners into his introspective world where every word carries weight and every beat serves a purpose. The album continues the journey he's taken listeners on throughout his career, offering new insights while remaining rooted in the stark realism that has defined his work. I listened to this album. That's a great summary of this particular album. But for me personally, it's not going to be in my best of the year, which is only 15. Doesn't mean that it wouldn't land somewhere long down the line, but we're not doing long down the line. We're only doing 15. You know what I'm saying? Um, but there you have it. That's hiphopgoldenage.com. You can visit their site. You can check out all the albums they listed. Like I said, they put me on. It's 2 joints, the Killer Priest joint and that other one, with the robots DJing on the cover that I was laughing at. But the description was potent for my taste. And then the album cover, and I'm like, oh, the nerd and the hip hop is. So I think it's a good resource. So shout out to hip hop, goldenage.com. Obviously, this is subjective. This is their site. Me not liking certain albums they posted does not matter. It's what I like and what I don't like versus what they like and don't like. But nevertheless, dope stuff. Dope to see. Hold up. Why is my Windows just still sharing? Okay. I don't know what's going on. But there you have it. As we gear up for Hip Hop Now Podcast's best of 2024, check out the other content on the site, like our review and reaction to Kendrick Lamar's latest album, GNX. A ranking of De La Soul albums video is also available. And coming up next week will be a ranking of Ice Cube albums right here on the channel on Hip Hop Now Podcast through YouTube. If you're watching this and you're not subscribe right now. If you like the content, hit the like button. Those things help the show. If you feeling so inclined to donate to the podcast to help with the production of the podcast, the QR code to the Cash App is right here on screen. But in the description of this episode is also my tag on Cash App. So there are options there. But more importantly, the free way to help out this podcast is to hit that share button and share it with any and everybody you know that would enjoy this kind of content. Until next time, y'all, I'm not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.